This is when you want to take, for example, something beyond a square root or possibly beyond a cubed root. Or maybe you just don't have the desire to use the square root button. You just want to have a button that works for any root. Well, that's where this comes in. So we're going to do some examples, and I'll just show you first of all what are typical ways you would see it on your calculator. So take a moment, grab your calculator, and see if you can locate a button that looks like one of these guys here. Okay. So look for the yellow ones. Okay. If you can't find it, usually it's going to be a second function. Like you got to press like the shift button or something. And you know the power button, like when you do x to the something, like 5 to the 2 or something, like over here, maybe it looks like x to the y. You might have to hit shift and then hit that button after. Okay, so let's see if we can yeah, I feel like we're doing like you're lost in the woods and I'm trying to help you to safety, but all I have is like literally just a walkie-talkie here, so I'm just kind of like giving you like guidance. So hopefully you can find your way through this whole disaster. So let's go back here. And here's some questions in blue. We're going to just try these ones here. We have A, D, and G. So we're going to do the fourth root of 81. And we want 4 significant digits on your answer. So the answers are below. I'm just going to type the answers in case you don't feel like reading it upside down. So for A, it should be 3. Now, you probably know that many of you know that 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, did I say it 4 times, is 81, but you might not know some of the other ones. So I'm just going to type these upside down because I certainly cannot read this upside down if I was under pressure. So then we have that, and we have G. And for G, it's going to be, let's see here, 5.674. So I'm gonna show you how I would do it on this calculator. So out of curiosity, anybody have a calculator that looks like this with the 1 over x button and the xy button? So we can, some of your calculators probably have something similar to like this button here. It's right here. You see the x root y button? So this button to do the root, it's a little bit weird. So for those of you that haven't figured it out yet, I'm going to show you how to do it on this one. So you would type in 81, and then you would type in the root button. Okay, sorry, you have to, this calculator is a little bit different. You type the 4 first, and then the root button, and then 81. Let's see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm going to close the browser. Okay, so that didn't work. So it's the other way around. This calculator is awful. Okay. So depending on your brand of calculator, like this, I'm suffering on this calculator because I've never used it before. I literally did not press a button on it. I just looked online and I looked for one that looked really annoying, and this one is not the nicest calculator. So that's why I'm using it. If you want to use a nice online calculator, a really good one, okay, who can hear me? Okay, see. Okay, so if you can't hear, get out and come back. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So if you don't have a nice calculator, if it can load, this one is a really good one. For A, you got 36. Okay. Okay, so we got to figure out your calculators. No problem, everybody. This is the last new button that you're learning. So I'm going to do these systematically. If anybody that can be, if they don't mind being a little patient with the process. So let's start with Cameron. Cameron, what calculator do you have? Which calculator brand do you have? Can you tell me the model, the serial number, everything? Oh yeah, I know why. You're typing in the wrong root button. You're typing in the regular square root button. Okay, so let's take a step back, everybody. The most critical question is A. So for question A, you notice that there's this button here. Whoever typed this button on their calculator, they're getting the wrong answer because that's not fourth root. That's square root. So if you're typing that in on your calculator, what you're really doing on that calculator is getting the wrong answer because you're doing this. You're typing in 4, and then you're typing in square root of 81. And that's wrong because what you're doing is you're getting 9 here, and then 4 times 9 is 36. This is not 4 root 81, it's the fourth root of 81. So you need a different button on your calculator. So I'm going to start with Cosmos Calculator because I took a screenshot of it last time. Okay, so let's go back here. Cosmo, I had your calculator here. That was your calculator, right, bud? Confirm? Can you confirm, Cosmo? Okay, good. So we're going to use yours as a guinea pig, and then we'll figure out everybody else after. So type 4, but do not type this button here. This button's wrong. That's square root. You don't want that one. You're going to type in second function, and then this button here. This is the root right here. You see that right there? That's the root button. So you need to go 4, second, general root, and then type in 81 equals. Try it now. Any luck? Just a second, Marco. Okay, so Cosmo, did you get the answer? Marco, for your calculator, awesome. For your calculator, Marco, your button's right here. Does yours look like this one? Confirm, Marco. Does this look like your calculator? Okay, good. So you're gonna type in 4, shift, and then this button here, because the root button is right here. Actually, your calculator, you don't have to type in the 4 first. Yeah, definitely, Sheldon. We'll do yours next. Just again, Marco, I got you, Alexandria. Okay, let's go with Sheldon next. Now, Sheldon, I didn't take a screenshot of your calculator. Oh, no problem. This is like tech support. I'm missing the whole earpiece with like the pilot, they wear those headphones and things. I just need one of those. And I need to pretend like I'm really, really bad at the social skills. And then I can be good tech support here, Sheldon. It's like I'm a mechanic now, right? So does that look like your calculator, one of these guys here? Is that correct? It's loading. All right. Apparently it's loading. Maybe sometime this decade it'll load. Okay, that's good enough. Let's take a look here. So for Sheldon's calculator, it's right here, okay? So I think your calculator requires a little bit of guessing because, guessing on my part because I don't have it in front of me. So try this first, okay? Try this one first, Sheldon, because your calculator is kind of backwards. What you're going to do is you're going to type in the 81 first. So type in 81, okay? Then type in shift or second. I'll come back to you, Nicholas. I'm working on Sheldon now. Sheldon, sorry, come back to me here. So type in 81, shift, general root, because it's up there in yellow. So far, so good. Don't type anything else. And then type in 4 after that, and then equals. Did that work? Let's talk about Sheldon for a second here. Okay, so you see Sheldon, yours is backwards. You see how Sheldon's was backwards? You type in the 81 first, and then you have to hit the root thing after. So whatever once you get this one down, I honestly recommend that you jot down on a paper the sequence of buttons that you had to press. However, in general, I would mention this. You know, just like when you get in a car, there's a procedure for those of you that drive. There's a procedure. You get in, you put your seatbelt, you check the lights, you check the tires, you check everything, whatever. The same thing here with these with your calculator. Let's say that you have a test. Hypothetically, your test was today. There's no test today, obviously. The first thing you want to do is make sure you remember how to type the buttons, right? So this is probably, I'm telling you right now, this is one of the most annoying operations to do on calculators because students forget, and then obviously because you're not always typing fourth roots on your calculator every day. Well, my suggestion is, for example, the day of your test, I recommend that you type in the fourth root of 81 or something that you know how to do, just to make sure that you know you're doing it correctly. So that when you go and you start something worth marks, that you're not fumbling around trying to remember how to use the buttons. So I think the next person on the list was Alexandria. Is that correct? Okay, let's go at Alexandria. Oh, you got it, Alexandria? Nice. Okay, cool. So we have Cameron. Cameron's next. Is that right, Cameron? Mine is GET. I've never heard of that. Is that like oh gosh. Cameron, your calculator sounds like it's some type of a supercar. Oh, it's a business calculator, dude. Problems. Is it a business calculator? Is that a thing? What the heck? I don't want stock markets. We are not investing today. We're doing math. Can you see your calculator on the screen anywhere? Is it this one here? Is it this one here, Cameron? Oh, my dear friend. This reminds me of my engineering days. This is the kind of calculator I had for my engineering days. Okay, this is actually the same calculator I had. So there's a very nostalgic thing here. So let's see if we can. Whoops. All right. It feels like I'm in a museum now with this calculator, and I'm looking like, behind the glass, and this is like King Tut or something, and it's like not your calculator, my calculator anyway. So Cameron, your situation, I believe, is very similar to Sheldon, okay? So whatever I told Sheldon, you're going to get the same speech now. So you're going to type in 81. Okay, sorry. So Cameron, you're there, right? Okay, type in 81. Type in shift. Type in the button here because it's right here in yellow, the general button. Then type the 4 and equals. Let me know if you got it in the chat. So just like Sheldon, you have to type yours kind of in a funny way. So 81 shift general root 4 for the root and then equals. Please confirm that you got it. When you put the 4, it disappears. What the heck? Okay, let's try it a different way because your calculator is not identical to mine. It was slightly different, the model number. Type in this time, okay? Type in 4. Let's type 4, shift root, and then the 81, and then equals. See if that works. So type the 4 first. 4 shift 81. Sorry, 4 shift root 81. Okay, you're good to go, my friend. Make sure you write down those steps that you typed. Make sure you document it. That doesn't go for you, Cameron. That goes for everybody that had a hiccup on their calculator. You're most welcome. Okay, in the chat, there was a lot of names. There was a lot of typing, so I lost track. Please let me know. Anybody else? Throw me a calculator model. Anybody else have one in their? They need some support. The 3, yeah, the answer's 3. Yeah, that's right, Nicholas. Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, it is a bit of a headache to figure out some of the buttons, especially the fourth root. But better to figure it out here than on like learning it on the fly under pressure. This is the Desmos calculator. This is a really nice one. I haven't tried typing a root on it before, so let's see if I can just do it here. 4 root. So this calculator, you type in the root button first. This is very much like the Casio FX991. You type the root button and it gives you places to put stuff. So you can put the 4 there, and you can put the 81 there, and then your answer shows up here. So, if any of you are like having a, if you're like on a test or something, you're having an issue trying to get a calculation, you can use an online calculator. There's nothing wrong with that. So, it's just when you start, if you're writing a test and you have different things open, the less things that you need, the better during a test, to have in front of you. I would just have my binder and a calculator. That's all I want, right? Because then you're gonna get distracted, you're gonna get overwhelmed, you're gonna be looking all over the place for stuff. It's just too much. So make sure that you can master on your calculator. You won't have to rely on flipping through web pages. I haven't put any settings on the test yet. So this your test is very I haven't put a setting on for the online calculator. In my opinion, using an online calculator or your physical calculator during a test is like not going to be too much of an issue. But I can't quote you about booting you out during a test for using the online calculator because people have phones and other things as well, right? Like some people like to use their phone. Like honestly, some people want to just use their iPhone during a test to use their calculator. I get it. It's fine. I can't control that, so I'm not going to cry about it. But anyway, the only thing I want you to be careful about during a test, of course, is doing a good job and not cheating, because I have an extremely good visual memory. Not photo, people say photographic, whatever. That's BS. Like I have a very good visual memory, and I remember if I see the same answer twice, if it could be 100 students, I will remember it. Anyway, off topic. Let's not scare anybody. Let's not scare anybody here. This one here, G. Some of you, so like I don't mean it disrespectfully, but like for example, for me, and for example for Cameron was another one. I think it was Sheldon. Cameron, and Sheldon are kind of in the same boat because you have to type things in a weird way on the calculator. So something like this, in theory, I could type this on my engineering calculator. I don't have it with me because it's actually at my parents' house because it's from in my old bedroom. But if I actually take a picture of it, I'll put a picture of it on, and I'll show you next class or at some point when I see you next time. But you'll see what I mean. The calculator was so weak, and then this thing here, like typing this would be so annoying that as a student, I didn't want to gamble trying to type it in one step, so I would kind of break it up into 2 steps and add the answers together. So if you feel like some professors, some math people will say you can type it all on your calculator in one step, that try to aim for that goal, and I agree with that. But if you get into a position where it's annoying and it's too annoying and frustrating or whatever, then don't bother. So is anybody, sorry. Oh, the answer B is supposed to be D. Yeah, that's a typo. Yeah, I meant to say D there. That's a D there. My bad. There's like a super delay today on my computer for some reason. There we go. Thank you. Thanks, Alexandria. Or who was that? Sheldon, sorry. Okay. Yeah, you know what I think it is? I think that sometimes when Blackboard is at a capacity, it's kind of like it has a certain amount of bandwidth that it can handle. So that's why, for example, when I'm teaching you, I turn the video off. I just don't even bother with the video because you're gonna see me, but seeing my face doesn't change like my calculations, right? Like so, unfortunately, it's a little bit. frustrating sometimes, but welcome to the world of online, I guess, right? Anyway, where would you see this type of calculation? Let me give you a quick example of where you might see this calculation. But this question, what I'm gonna put right now here is not really for a test. It's just more for like you to, I mean, for at least for the first test, okay? Let's say that we have the following. The volume of a cube is V equals x cubed, okay? Find the length x if V equals, I'll be gentle. I'll say 1,000. No, 1,000's too easy. What would be a good number here? 8,000 inches cubed. Again, this is not for a test, at least for your first test. It's just more for you to understand where you would want to use such a button. Yeah, the answer is 20. That's very nice, Matthew. I'm going to show you with a little bit of algebra how the roots pop in here. So we would write 8,000 equals x cubed. Or in other words, I'll write it backwards here. So x cubed is 8,000. And to get rid of the cube, you take the cube root. So I have a cube root somewhere here on this processor, and then you put your 8,000. Now, I understand that many of you have a calculator that has the cube root already built in. Many of you have a calculator with a cube root button. But just for the argument here, just for the sake of argument, try typing that in with the general root button. And make sure that you can get 20. So this is just a question where you can see that higher order roots that are beyond order 2, like square roots, they're realistic to use. They're not just like you could use a fourth root. And if you're wondering where might you use a fourth root, a very common place would be with finance. What part of what I said, Matthew? There was a lot. I'm just saying that it's very common to have roots that are beyond 3. Oh, try typing this on your calculator, but try typing it not using the cubed root button that you already have. Try typing it using the new root button, the one that you did for this one here, but using a 3 instead of a 4, just so that you can get comfortable with that button, with that feature. Okay, cool. So all that aside, what could you expect from me on an assignment or a test or whatever? Well, probably on an assignment, I would give you stuff like this. So I'm going to switch over to the next section. The next section just says harder questions. So this basically, you know what you're going to see. You're probably going to see some real nasty expressions where you have to type a bunch of stuff on your calculator. And no shock to you, look, a bunch of annoying questions. So what I'm going to do with you now is just give you an opportunity to try some of these. So probably won't spend too much time trying these questions. Do you want to go for a home run? Do you want to go for 11 right off the bat, or do you want to try some simpler stuff? Really, it's up to you, I guess, right? Okay. So where might you see question 1? Can anybody think of a situation with math in your past experience where you might have seen a calculation like question 1? Like when I see question 1, I think of something very special from my trigonometry days. Question 1 reminds me of a calculation that you would do with what theorem? Does anybody remember what theorem I'm talking about? Who remembers the theorem I'm talking about? Starts with a P. Okay, now I'm just playing like Wheel of Fortune here. The Pythagorean theorem. This is the type of calculation that you would do for the Pythagorean theorem when you want to find the diagonal or the hypotenuse of a right angled triangle. I have a suspicion that people are just typing stuff on their calculator. So how about, yeah, I haven't done the answer. You know, I don't want to cheat. I'm not cheating. Answers are here, but we're not cheating. Okay, I'm going to scroll it up here. I'm going to use my good old friend Desmos. So this one here, question 6, don't worry about 6, just because I can't use both sides of the screen. So there we go. Okay, so let's see if, no cheating, okay? John's not going to cheat. Here we go. Do root, bracket, and that bracket there, see the 6.1? The brackets on it are meaningless. You don't need them. 6.1, where's my squared? Squared plus 7.2 squared. I got 9.4367, whatever. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one, Alexandria. I got the same. Make sure you go to 4 sig figs. So the answer, I'll type my answer in the chat. Yeah, you have to truncate it. You have to cut it. So 9.437. That's the answer that I would expect. Because it says in the question 4 significant digits. Nikolaos, are you talking about the number that you get on your screen, or just in general? It's just a long question. System error. Okay, Norris, so your calculator depends on the model. Like sometimes you have to put brackets, sometimes you don't. Norris and Nicolas, what are you guys talking about? Are you talking about the calculator, or are you talking about Blackboard?
No, we're talking about question 1. Like there's a long solution to get like the right answer of breaking it every single, every
Oh,
single step down.
oh, of course, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. The thing that hopefully through the process of this week, it builds you some confidence to like not write so many steps.
Okay, is there
For
like a
one, you
shorter
got,
way you're gonna show us?
well, this is the shortest possible way, is to just try to type the whole thing in one
Oh,
shot.
okay. Okay,
Um,
okay.
Matthew, you have to take the square root. That's why. I don't think you took the square root.
Sir,
Because there's,
hello?
oh, okay, so the comment is this. The reason you're getting the 57.94, let me explain it to everybody so they're clear. The reason that you're getting 57.94 is because you're not including the 7.2 squared in the brackets. So what I want you to do, it depends on the model of your calculator. So I'll talk about Cosmo's calculator first because it's similar to what I want to say. So Cosmo, for example, and anybody else with similar calculator, you type in the root here. See that root thing there? You got to type in 2 brackets. You got to put root and then bracket and then that stuff. You see on my screen here, there's a bracket right there. You see that bracket? You need that bracket first. That's the reason that you're not getting the correct answer. So you make sure you have that bracket around it. I haven't done 5 yet, but I'm gonna cheat here because I don't want you to wait. Okay, number 5. Number 5, the answer is 49.996. Yeah, that's the answer for number 5. Whatever math you wrote down there. So what I'll clarify again, the reason that some students were not getting the right answer for question 1 is because, yeah, 9.43, that's fine. Yeah, 9.437, yeah. That's right, Norris. So you make sure you put brackets around the stuff that's underneath the root. So when you're writing it on your calculator, I'm just going to draw it here. Make sure that you put the root and then you put a bracket. So that goes for anybody that has the calculator. That was the sharp one there, okay? You go root bracket, then you type in this stuff here, and then close the bracket. Make sure you put that bracket. because otherwise the root's going to only work on the first thing that it sees. Someone confirm Matthew's answer for 7. I'm not there yet. Okay, I'm going to write down the answers here just because we're getting a little bit off track. 9.437. Okay, thank you for those typing in the chat. Number 5, 49.96. And for 7, 70.15. Yeah, 5 is 49.96. I'm gonna type it here in Desmos. Let's type it here, okay? So first thing is 3.87 cubed is easy. No point in discussing that part. How do I do both square roots? So your calculator, what you're gonna do, Cosimo, is you're gonna type in subtract, put 2 brackets like that with a divide. Now my calculator does, when I type in this, so on your calculator, type in 2 brackets, but you need to put the divide symbol. I can't show you the symbol because it's not giving me the symbol. I'm talking about the divide symbol, just the regular divide symbol. When I do it on this calculator, it creates a fraction. So you don't get to see exactly, like, you don't get to see exactly how to write it, which is unfortunate. But if any case, everybody reaches their threshold where it's hard to actually, you know, it's really just annoying to try to figure it out all on the one step on your calculator. So if anybody does have a headache trying to do any of these questions, that just means that you've reached the threshold where for your particular calculator, it's not worth it anymore. So you might as well just kind of write down some intermediate numbers, which is fine. Oh, okay, yeah. The times wrecked it. I gotcha. Yeah, that's a minus sign for sure. Okay, so yeah, so my advice to you, Cosimo, and Marco as well, is just take the root of 480 and the root of 7.49 and just find those separately and divide them. If you're running into some hiccups there, okay? Because like I said, not just you, everybody here will reach a threshold where it's not worth it anymore. Oh, you're talking about 11. Ooh. I don't know what the answer. 11 here was, I got 7. 7, I see on the answer key it's 0.7. Yeah, that's what I got, Matthew. I'm just looking at the answer key. 0.7637. Yeah, that's it. If you got that on your calculator without any type of like in one step, that's amazing. I'm gonna show you in Desmos how entertaining this can be. Like you can like just crush this in Desmos. And that's okay. Multiple steps are fine. Like I said, you don't get to see exactly what I do here when I'm preparing stuff for you. But be sure that on your assignment, I am going to give you a question that's pretty long, like one of these ones. And when I made the solutions for it, the first time I made the solutions, like my first attempt, I did baby steps. I just broke it up into pieces. And then the second time I did it, I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it in one step. So I did the whole thing in one step on my calculator. And it was really annoying, but I did it. Nicholas, talk to me. Nice job, Alexandria. That's impressive.
Sir,
Yes.
I think one of the
Is that Nicholas or
problems,
Norris?
Nicholas.
Okay.
I think one of the problems or the challenges of knowing if it's right in a test situation is that you don't get the feedback from peers to know whether or not your calculator is actually giving you the right answer based on the inputs.
So usually if it comes down to a specific function of the calculator, before I try this nasty type of question, I try to fall back to make sure that I know how to do a very simple calculation with that button. Like for example, the fifth root here, I think of something that's easy to do. So like I'll do the fifth root of 32 because I know 2 to the 5 is 32. It's pretty basic to know. So I always try to think about something that is like cheap. So when I get to the hard question, I can be confident that I'm performing the command correctly with appropriate feedback. But yeah, these questions, unfortunately, as you're mentioning, Nicholas, this question here is very unlikely to connect to a real life calculation. So there is no real like tangible thing to be able to estimate the answer, and I can appreciate that, which is why this type of calculation is going to be um, a very small thing that I'll be focusing on during the semester. So this is like basically a one and done. You'll see a question on your assignment for sure, and it'll probably be annoying. But then on your test, you might get one that's like easier. So uh, if our calculator does it in one step, how do we show our work? We have to show our work. Okay, so answer there is Alexandria. Um, on your assignments, I will ask you to just write down a couple of numbers in intermediate numbers, just to show me that in case you get the wrong answer, at least I can see partially what you did. So for the assignment, I'm just going to ask you to, even though it's not like, true to the idea of doing it in one step, I'm going to ask you to show me a couple of intermediate numbers just for insurance. Now, on a test, you might get, I know other professors that will say, oh, there's feedback there. I know other professors that will say you have to write down on a paper all of the sequence of buttons that you pressed. I can't make you do that. I feel terrible to make you do that. So, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a very good thing to do. It's just, I don't know. It's just too much for me to ask from someone during a test. So I don't bother. But anyway, no, gosh, no. That's like asking you to write down the steps for riding a bike, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Matthew,
So, sir,
you're gonna yes,
sir,
talk to me.
right. So, because some of these calculations are not very straightforward on the calculator itself, what is the quick method that you would recommend to solve, for example, say number 11?
Because it depends on the calculator that I have. Like this calculator here, what I'm doing is just trying to take small pieces at a time. If I didn't have this luxurious calculator, if I did not have this luxurious calculator, I'm just gonna finish typing it for a second, just to satisfy the answer there. If I didn't have this like nice looking calculator, the way that I would do this question, and the way that in preparing your assignments, which you're gonna get on the weekend, the way that I checked my answers, if this was a question, I did this thing here, and I just wrote down the number to many decimals, usually like about 6 or 7 decimals, and then I did this number here. Sorry, there's a delay when I'm drawing it. I did the denominator afterward, and I found that to many decimals as well. And then I just kind of worked from there. So I'm just trying to think about like for working from the inside out. Yeah. So that's the approach that I would take, is just work on the inside out and just kind of build outwards. Like any student here, when they see this question, you're welcome. Any student here, when you see this type of question, one thing that you can do, and this is one thing that I did as well, especially coming out of the engineering stuff that I studied, the equations, I had formulas that were a page long, literally a page long. And it's hard, I get it, managing and trying to figure out the calculations. So one thing I did was this. I ignored this part. I just ignored the fifth root altogether. Can let me know in the chat. When I remove the fifth root, if I just ignored that root, do you feel more comfortable with it? Doesn't that feel a bit more like comfortable just to do that kind of thing separately, you're allowed to do that. Just get rid of the fifth root, get an answer, and then get the fifth root later. Basically is what I'm saying before, is just work from the inside out. For this question, Norris, it's very hard for me to kind of say how to do it for your calculator. That's the thing, Cosimo. For your calculator, it would be such a long sequence of commands. It would be an absolute headache. So I'll try to give it a shot. I'll try to give Cosimo's one a shot there, because the reason I'm not choosing Cosimo because I'm trying to pick on Cosimo. It's because that calculator is a very common one to do calculations on. So let's see if I can write down a series of instructions here for this one. If my stylus is going to be annoying, I'm just going to try to type it with a keyboard. So I would do fifth, 5 shift, general root. So first I do the general root, and then these are all in order, okay? Then I would type in a bracket, another bracket, 1 plus square root 2.660, close bracket, power 3, divide. I'll put the divide a little bit further down so you can see it. So these spaces are just for you to help visualize what the heck's happening here. 4667 cubed minus 3159. Please double check if I screwed up any of the characters here. Hopefully the numbers are all correct. But that's basically what I would type, not basically, that's exactly what I would type on Cosimo's calculator or something similar. But under no circumstances would I expect you to do that much communication on a test. So give that a whirl if you like to try that. Hopefully it didn't give anybody too much of a headache. It is annoying and it is a little bit confusing, Cosmo, but that's actually all the commands you would type. And they would all be on your screen, and you have to scroll left and right to write the whole thing down. It is very, very annoying. But you don't have to do it in one step. Nobody's asking you to do it in one step. So just take, yeah, what I'm saying is you can do it in smaller steps. What I mentioned earlier to Nicholas, you can take the numerator, get a number, get the denominator, get a number, divide the two numbers, and just work your way from the inside out. Can I have some support in the chat? Anybody in the chat want to help me with this one? I'm gonna give a breakdown for students that want to see smaller steps. So
Wait,
just some
sir,
support if everybody doesn't mind. So
can you
can
still
someone
write?
just do the numerator only? Hello, Norris?
Yeah, can you still write it on the Casio FX991MS?
Oh yeah, for that calculator you can write it exactly how you see it.
I mean,
That calculator.
I did, but I got minus 31.57.
I'm not sure why. Like literally, you can just type it with the fraction button and everything. It should look like the way that I'm setting it up. It should be pretty much the same. Then, if you can't get the answer that way, then I would resort to what I'm about to say here. So the numerator is 18 and change. Thank you, Matthew. Matthew, can you give me some more decimals on that, please, if you don't mind? If you're not getting exactly the thing on the FX991, I don't really know what to say because it really is quite literal on that calculator. But you break it up with the smaller things. Oh, you're a champ. 21118064. What about the bottom? What do we have for the bottom? Like 80-ish? Is it 80-ish roughly? I'm guessing. Or is it less than 80, 70? Actually, I'll do it here. What am I doing? Thank you. Okay, the next thing you can do is take this stuff here. So this is exactly my suggestion for those of you having a headache. trying to do this on, really? Why is it doesn't like because it's not Windows. Okay, so that's that.
Sir, quick question. How did you get 18.21118? The
I
numerator.
just didn't. I did
Oh, just the one? You didn't do the 5
I did no
square
I
root?
did the one I did the one no I did 1 plus the root. Whatever you see here,
Oh,
literally, I
okay,
just
okay, okay, I see. Because I did the 5 shift general root, that's why.
oh no yeah, the 5 shift, you see I'm leaving it at the end. I'm leaving the
Oh,
shift root
okay.
for dessert. That's dessert,
Okay.
okay? We're just eating the main course now.
Okay, I got it.
Nicholas, not every question on a test will be this irritating, so you will have time to do, you'll have plenty of time to write the test. The only thing that you, well, you don't need to do it every question. It's not, this calculator stuff, what you're doing here is not central to the course. Like you're not going to be asked to do, but Cosimo, follow what I'm doing on the screen and just do what I did on the screen. Break it up into pieces. Nobody's asking you to do this in one step. Okay, well, my question to Cosmo or anybody else is, could you do this question? Did you get 5 right? Did you get 5 right? Okay. Then even the 5 one, break it up into smaller steps. That's what my suggestion is, just try to break it up into smaller steps. As many steps as it takes, that's fine. And the worst case scenario, we're talking only about one question on your test, if that is, and on your assignment, it's only one question or maybe a couple, but nothing nasty. Like the test question won't be as hard as the assignment. The assignment you can have lots of time. You can go and break it down to little pieces. Just break it up into little pieces, okay? Nobody's asking you to do this in one step. Can someone confirm the answer on this, please? Can someone confirm the answer for this last one? Did they get exactly the answer? Whatever. Oh, nice, nice work. Perfect. I just don't. I appreciate your tenacity. Those of you that were getting frustrated, just don't give up. Keep on fighting, okay? Because that's a very admirable trait to have, is not giving up. Okay, thank you, Alexandria. And for those that want to see a step prior to this, if that's going to help, no problem. I'll put extra here, okay? So there you go. So if you want, you just little pieces at a time. Keep on chipping away at it. There's no need to get rattled about it. I did so at this point here, I took a 5th root. Gotta love the calculator, eh? Anyway, I realized that this unit, when some of you kind of walked into it, they're like, oh, calculator. Not really sure what's going to happen there. But you can see that the calculator, being able to do complex operations on it, is quite annoying. So that's why it's important that you find strategies to minimize the mistakes that you might make and also the stress that you get. So we don't want you to get stressed out. I don't want to get stressed out. So what I'm saying is, if it stresses you out trying to do the whole thing in one step, don't do it in one step. Little pieces at a time. Keep on chipping away at it until you get somewhere useful. And like I mentioned earlier, for Nicholas, for example, I understood, completely understood that this question doesn't really relate to an obvious physical situation. So this is more about literally just getting familiar with and confident with doing really complicated operations on your calculator. So in the future, you don't get intimidated by questions. And the questions that you would get in the future are not in terms of like your program or whatever career. You're not gonna have to do calculations this weird. This one's pretty weird. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Hopefully, we didn't get too annoyed with the operations.